Welcome back to our OBBBA comparison. This is episode 3 after our special episode. This is City again, your Canadian CPA.
And I'm Ice, the Canadian registered nurse that was surprised that the U.S. is regulating the price for the weight management medicine. On the other hand, we just avoided another election after the federal budget we talked in the special episode has passed.
Talking about that, is it getting more and more difficult to determine which type of medicine can be claimed under the medical expenses on the personal tax return? Should I consider GLP-1 medication as injection pen or prescription drugs? Does Cialis in the ad, which needs a prescription, count as a prescription drug under medical expenses? Or can you claim Botox? Life is complicated, and so is healthcare, and that is your field. Next time, we are going to talk about the healthcare challenge in Canada.
Wait, are you trying to cut to the end and skip today?
Oh, we didn't do today's topic yet? I am probably too shocked after looking into Novo Nordisk's stock price and learned about the price regulation and the Alzheimer's trial failure for their GLP-1 medication.
Hope your dementia is getting better, but we are going to talk about how does the OBBBA mean to the U.S. companies and how did Canadians' strong budget and compete with the big and beautiful.
Today, we're diving deep into the corporate world. Before your eyes glaze over, remember, Donald is making the tax rate he provided on his last term permanent again. Lower corporate taxes mean bigger bonuses for executives and potentially more job creation. Probably just bigger bonuses for executives, since AI and Indians are going to replace the entry-level job. Watch out, Big Four juniors.
Guess I'm not being replaced yet since the Chinese robot does not seem capable doing wound care just yet. From last time, you said we are going to cover 1. Permanent corporate tax cuts and immediate expensing qualified property, plant, and equipment. 2. R&D incentives, the game changer for tech and manufacturing. 3. Phasing out of clean energy credit.
All right, let's roam.
Talking about the tax rate, is this the same as personal tax you talked about last time, signed by President Trump on his last term? And does it increase when the income increase?
Yes and no. First, OBBBA follows the Tax Cut and Job Act and make the tax rate permanent. The U.S. corporate tax rate is 21% for all income. Therefore, the rate does not move up when there is more income. However, you would be right if Donald didn't sign that act on his last term. The old U.S. corporate tax used a progressive system. Just like we talked about previously, when there's more income, those later incomes will fall under the higher tax rate. And from a quick math running in my head, the company that has less income were getting struck by this bill and needs to pay more tax.
Sounds like even they are getting a single rate, they are screwing the small entrepreneurs. I think you told me that Canada's federal corporate tax rate is around 15%, and the Canadian-controlled private corporation is around 9%.
That is right. CCPC in Canada will have the 9% federal tax rate on their first $500K of net income. For the U.S. companies that want to have a lower tax rate, the owner might want to consider to have the income pass through to their personal tax directly by having an S-corp or partnership.
That sounds complicated. Are you going to talk about the type of corporation soon?
Probably not, as we're trying to focus on Canadian content, but we'll have some short explanation if needed in the future.
But overall, it sounds like a good way to lower the corporate tax rate for the public companies that are in the U.S. Maybe this is how they're keeping the public companies stay.
Other than this permanent rate, as we mentioned earlier and in the special episode, the U.S. also has immediate expense for the qualified capital assets that are placed in service after January 19, 2025. Just in case you didn't listen to the previous episode, that means if you buy a factory, a machine, or any equipment, you can write off 100% of its cost in the first year. You don't need to follow the depreciation schedule and wait for 5, 10, or 20 years in order to claim the tax deduction on this purchase.
Just a reminder, it's like you buy a $1 million computer that follows the standard depreciation schedule for 5 years. Your profits on tax shrink by $1 million instead of $200K every year for the next 5 years.
OBBBA added a special provision. If you bought non-residential real property, factories, warehouses, manufacturing facilities, between January 19th, 2025 and January 1st, 2029, you can take 100% expensing immediately. It's gone by January 1st, 2031.
So if you're building a factory between now and January 1st, 2031, you can write it all off in one shot?
Yes, it's like Christmas came early for Michigan manufacturing and crypto mining facilities. Tesla, Ford, Intel, TSM, Nvidia, they're probably running the numbers right now. These are still capital assets on the financial statement, but immediate expensing on the tax.
That's nice, but our strong budget has the same thing. We allow immediate expensing for manufacturing and processing property.
That is correct. Both Canada and the US are encouraging the manufacturing, and I don't know whether they can beat China or Mexico on mass production. Do you know what else we are encouraging?
If I recall from last week, is it the research and development?
You are correct. We are encouraging companies to spay and to develop new technology.
By giving them tax deduction and giving out the money?
Well, for OBBBA, it only gives you the immediate expensing. They don't have some cash incentives like our strong budget. But this is an improvement for them. While in Canada, we have the SRED credit, but before OBBBA, the R&D expenses needed to be capitalized and spread over 5 years for domestic and 15 years for foreign.
So they treated the R&D expenses like how they treated their assets.
Correct, which both are aligned with most of the accounting standard where you capitalized and amortized over the useful lives. But on the tax, it becomes the cash flow nightmare.
How much are we talking in savings?
Let's say a biotech company spending $1 million on drug research. Under the old rules, they'd deduct $200,000 per year for 5 years, which is tax saving of $42,000 per year. Under OBBA, they can deduct all $1 million this year, saving tax of $210,000. Then, using this tax saving of $168,000 to get more equipment to produce the medicine they developed. This is the same for tech startups building AI models.
Sounds like we should pay close attention on the news on any public company is getting new technology out. Share price bump from the good news and reduced tax.
But wait, there's more. OBBA also allows retroactive relief for 2022, 2023, and 2024 R&D expenses. All companies can now recover their cash, big cash, for innovation they already paid for by deducting the unamortized R&D expenses in 2025 or spread through 2025 and 2026. Smaller companies that have an average of less than $31 million in gross receipts in last 3 years can amend prior returns and recover cash by July 4th, 2026. The amendment is faster than waiting until the corporate tax filing.
So Pfizer could suddenly say, hey, remember that $100 million we spent on COVID vaccines in 2022? We want a refund.
Yes and no. Since Pfizer's the large company, they can only do the catch-up amortization that reduced the tax for 2025.
Now for the climate part. OBBA cuts clean energy credits aggressively. Residential clean energy tax credits? Terminating. Solar panel installation credits for homeowners? Done after December 31, 2025. Wind energy production credits? Gone by 2028. The U.S. is effectively saying, we're betting on oil, natural gas, and the only clean energy we need is nuclear.
Did I hear some good news about Chevron, ExxonMobil, and Cameco?
Well, if we look at the stock market, they are actually doing pretty nice. But all stocks are doing pretty nice after the huge wipeout in April due to Trump tariff. On top of the tax credit that incentivized corporations that we mentioned last time, Clean Electricity Investment Tax Credit and Clean Technology Manufacturing Investment Tax Credit, we are going to give out something more personal.
That is something I would like to hear, something I can claim from the government.
First, the bad news. The ship for Canada Greener Homes Grant and Canada Greener Homes Loan has sailed. You missed the boat.
What are those?
These are the grant of $5,000 and interest-free loan of $40,000 that the government provided you to get the better insulations, better ceiling windows to make your house more energy efficient. And if you already have a good house, you can use them on getting the solar panel to generate the electricity for your house as well.
This sounds terrible. I might have missed the embarkation. So what is the good news? Anything I can still get while it's still open?
While now the federal government is focusing on the corporations, the provincial governments are still providing some benefit for the individuals. In Ontario, Doug gives us Peak Perks and Ontario Electricity Support Program, known as OESP.
I know that Peak Perks program after I installed the smart thermostat in my house. It limits the AC usage during the peak hour, which usually the hottest of the day when the sun shines through the windows. By not using AC at the time, you save on the electricity, and the government will give you $75 for enrollment and additional $20 for each year following.
And from what I heard from you, the Canadian summer after climate change is getting intolerable. Too hot to the point that you might just spend your $20 at Tim Horton. And for the OESP, that is the monthly electricity bill credit for lower income households. The monthly credit is between from $35 to $75 for household earning less than $71,000. The determination depends on how many people living in the house and how much is the earning. If you're indigenous, electrically heating your house, or you have medical devices requiring a lot of power, additional levels of assistance can be further determined.
For a household earning less than $71,000 in Toronto, that would feel insane by just considering the rent or mortgage. Quality of life might not be the best, so I hope this credit is helpful.
By the way, although the federal ship has sailed, there is still Home Renovation Savings Program in Ontario where you can get the rebate over the insulation, heat pumps, solar panels that help the energy efficiency and generate energy for your home. For our Asian friends in BC, they also have the Peak Saver that is similar to the Peak Perk in Ontario, but it sounds much better. Their enrollment per device is between $100 to $500, depending on the type, and annual amount subsequently is between $50 to $250. They can let you enroll not only the thermostat, but EV charger, load controller, and even battery.
But in the way they are saying, I can control your electricity when they like to and when they want to.
In the way they give you the flexibility whether you want to participate. Each participation earns you additional money. But you need to participate for more than 50% of the event, otherwise your enrollment would be revoked.
Saving some electricity and earn back some money and just go to sit in a Tim Horton and learn Punjabi. I like to hear that.
Let's move from the West Coast to East Coast. We have the solar panel incentives that are available in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. The rebate is up to $3,000 depend on how many watts that your solar panel capacity can generate. The rebate is for insulation and you can connect to the grid and sell your electricity back to hydro companies.
How do you know that?
I got a client that is working on installing the solar panel, helping the homeowner to fill out the form and complete everything needed to get the rebate and hook up to the grid. From what they claim, the amount of the excess electricity sold back to hydro company can pay off the interest-free loan they provided to homeowner. I didn't get paid to do the promo, so name is going to be mentioned.
For, as always, don't just reach out to random contractor, install the solar panel, and go to the government. Please make sure you always get the pre-approval so your installation would not go no avail.
I think that wrap up pretty much everything about OBBA, and good that we finished before the year ends. So when preparing your personal tax and corporate tax, you can think about the benefit that you can possibly get.
And if you can't think of any, just think of us. Where are we going next?
It's the Christmas season. Maybe let's talk about credit card and see how they can be utilized and help on your travel. After all, we are trying to run a comedy show that tells people how to do accounting and travel happily.
Don't get too much debt on your credit card. That is the only thing we can think of. The interest rate on there isn't worth it.
Thank you for taking time with us to break down OBBA and the Canadian federal budget. Hope you haven't run to the US yet.
As always, if you have questions, hit us up.
And if you're the factory that is moving south, Doug will pour the whiskey on the ground for you.